Welcome to another exciting episode of the $1 Million Peddlers. I'm Papergoy.
I'm Mr. Magazine.
We have a fair number of subscribers who show up regularly to shows, and I don't want to put you on the spot, Mr. Magazine, but are you familiar with one of our subscribers, Dawn?
I think so.
She's gonna kill you.
I think so. I think I know her.
She's gonna kill you. She asked me us to do a show about, is it worth it? Are you working for minimum wage? Now, you obviously are not, but
I work for zero.
Exactly.
I'm free. I'm free to myself.
But what do you do if you find yourself working for minimum wage in the business, and what are the pros and cons of it? And just your thoughts on that.
I think I asked you something similar to that a while ago, and I think part of it is we enjoy what we're doing. We don't answer to anyone. I mean, when you're doing this job, obviously your day job's a different story, but you can do whatever you want, get up whenever you want, go wherever you want. So there's a little bit of freedom there. And if you do enjoy it, it's not work, they say, right?
That's what they say.
Yeah. But I mean, when you get down to it, if you're really making minimum wage and you can't pay your bills, and then you're not happy doing what you're doing, then you got to decide, hey, do I cut this down a little bit and make it part-time and then get a part-time job just so I can get more guaranteed income? Or does it spike where I'm making minimum wage during the slow season, but then I'm making decent money during the Christmas season? Does it average out? So I guess you got to crunch the numbers and see, where how you feel and if you're happy doing what you're doing.
I think there's a few different things in there. I think, number one, I think if you're starting out, you're probably working for less than minimum wage, because if you think about it, you go to a sale and you spend $100 on stuff at a sale and you list all that stuff. This is not eBay circa 1998. Everything doesn't sell at auction immediately. So you're putting the items up, and you're making money, hopefully, but you bought 100 items at $1 a piece, and 4 of them sell at auction. And they sell for $10 a piece. Great, you made $40, but by the time you take in, how long did it take me to drive to the sale, buy those 10 or 100 items, list those 100 items, pack the 4 that sold, and I'm off to find my next deal. Yeah, I've got, a couple of them sell the next time. Before you know, okay, you sold $200 worth of stuff out of there. Then you take your eBay fees out. You take. Hey, I made $40 on that deal. I've got 80 items left, or whatever number of items left.
Yeah.
But by the time you work it all down on an hourly basis, I'm working for $3.95 an hour.
Yeah.
However, those 80 items that are left, 5 will sell next month, 3 will sell the month after, and so on and so on. And I wrote down that you basically you have to hit a critical mass. You have to get enough items on that automatically, regularly, things are selling every single day. So even in a time when you're not, you have to work a little bit every day or every couple of days, because obviously you have to stay on top. You have to accept offers. You have to pack things.
Right.
But let's say that all of a sudden I just said, I'm not going to, I don't have time. I just don't feel like listing, and I'm not going to list anything for a month.
Mm-hmm.
My work time would be minimal at that point, because literally it would be answering emails and it would be filling orders.
Right.
I'd still be making money, and I'd be making more than minimum wage, because I might work an hour a day.
Yeah.
And as long as I'm selling more than one item a day, I'm making more than minimum wage during that period there.
Yeah, right.
So it's almost like you're putting off the money.
Yeah, well, you got to grind it out when you start out, and then if you want to coast later, you can coast because you've already built up something that in 5-10 years or whatever,
Well, and I'll give a perfect example. We always shoot these things in advance, so we're shooting this February 1st. 2021, I spent $32,000 on inventory. 2022, I spent $32,000 on inventory. Thus far in 2023, now that I've made my vow not to buy, I've spent $3,000 on inventory. What's 3,000 times 12?
36.
What did I spend last year?
Close to that.
32?
Yeah.
So I'm not buying this year, and I'm already on pace to spend more than I did the last 2 years when I was buying.
Yeah.
And obviously, these are things that I'm buying that I'm going to make or I expect to make money on and the like, and they're good deals, or else I wouldn't be buying them, and et cetera, et cetera. But I find myself working for less than minimum wage, but that's because I'm plowing $30,000 a year back into the business.
Right.
If I didn't plow that money back into the business, if I actually had some back inventory I could list and I stopped buying,
It's funny when you say that.
should
It's hard
I?
to take you seriously, or myself for that matter.
Let's pretend that I had some unlisted inventory.
Yeah.
If I were to focus on that and stop buying new things next year,
Starting now.
then all of a sudden I would end up making a good deal more than minimum wage.
Right.
Why? Because of all those years, the 20 years of just plowing money into the business, then I could sit back, not necessarily with my feet up, but I wouldn't necessarily have to go out and try to find the things.
Yeah.
And let's just pretend, let's go off in La La Land, and I stopped buying as of 2024. And literally, I just list what I have.
Yeah.
And I get everything that I have listed by 2028. So I have every single item in my house listed, and I said I'm not buying anymore because I want to move in 2035.
Yeah.
I could coast probably from 2028 through 2035. Okay, I'm not listing anything new, but I'm going to end and sell similar. I'm going to change the pictures on my listings, whatever.
Right.
I've got at that point, I don't know, say 75,000 items or 80,000 items listed, and then tweak my items, do this, do that. And now I got 65,000 listed. Next year I got 60,000, and so on.
Yeah.
And just stay busy tweaking items.
It's impossible. I mean, we try every year. We say we're going to scale down, buy less, buy smarter. I'm sure we're still buying smarter, but I think we're just growing and getting more sources of people selling to us that we can't control ourselves. I mean, even what was I doing last year? 100,000 a month I was spending. I think this month of January, with the grading and the spending of inventory, we're like 150,000. I mean, so I'm on pace to blow last year's out of the water, and that was my highest year of buying. But there is a perk to making minimum wage, or not as much as you hope to. If you're collectors like us, along the way you do pick up some decent stuff for your collection. So that's another positive that makes it an enjoyable experience. Like, we've been doing this 20 years or whatever, and we come across some cool stuff for our collection that we wouldn't be getting if we weren't doing this as well.
In other words, you're saying that if Dawn and I quit and we decided to work at Tim Hortons, we wouldn't be picking up the neat stuff that we pick up for our collection?
Correct.
I think you're probably, although I have a few more pounds on me because of their coolers. so there is an upside.
Yeah, sure.
So don't worry. As long as the reason why you're working for minimum wage is because you're putting the money back into the business, it's a positive. If you're not putting a lot of money into the business and you're not really making the sales, go ahead.
I do have a question.
Sure.
It's not good if you're making minimum wage, but if you're making minimum wage in New York, that's better than making minimum wage in Pennsylvania.
That is very true.
Then you might as well fold up the tents. Or those states that make like
Mississippi, you're making $6.70 an hour.
So if you're working for that, okay, at least New York, $15-$16 an hour or whatever. It's not great, but it's better than 6 or 7 from other states.
That is true.
Depends on what state you're in. Or Canada, I don't know what their wages are.
Probably high, but I don't know. Yep. Yeah. So as long as the reason why is because you're plowing money into your business, don't worry about it. Stay doing the same thing. If it's because you're just not having the sales, as Mr. Magazine said, do what you got to do. Get a side job if you have to. Do whatever you have to do, because obviously you have to keep the lights on. And at that point, maybe it's time to buy different things. Maybe it's time to, just discount everything you have just to sell it all out, get as much money in as you can, and start over again. Do whatever you have to do at that point. But yes, the freedom and the flexibility really do make it worthwhile, and that's worth more than money a lot of times. It definitely is. I've got the day job, and yes, I do work for New York State, so I do have plenty of days I can take off if I need to, should something or other come up, but it's still a pain to do all of that. Plus you got people counting on you and the like. If tomorrow morning I were retired and I said, I don't really feel like working at all, I've got 2 days shipping on Amazon, I've got 2 days shipping on eBay, I could literally just not turn my computer on tomorrow and not be in any trouble with anybody.
Or if you're sick, so you're sick and you really couldn't work for a day or two, at least you're okay. You got it covered.
That is true. So hopefully that helps you a little bit there. We've all been there. I know you've had some lean times. I've had some lean times back before the crullers.
And Dawn, here's another option if you're watching this. If you don't like making minimum wage, you come work for me. You'll make more than minimum wage.
There you go. Perfect.
We are hiring.
You can commute.
There you go.
And do hit the like button, and we will see you next video.
Take care. Bye bye.